Hello friends, I had said I would make this video 2 days ago, and then things got interesting in Puerto Rico. We were under tropical storm watch 2 days ago. We're expecting to be affected by tropical storm Karen, and while we waited for that, we were hit by an earthquake. 6.3 on the Richter scale, with about 100 aftershocks, afterquakes over the last couple of days. They were really hard. We're fine, no major damage in the island, and we happily avoided the worst of Karen. We're getting a lot of rain, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. In 2 years after Maria, we're still worried. There's a lot we can do. I think we're better prepared. I think we're working towards that as a society. So we're in a good place. We're okay. So I had promised this video 2 days ago, and on top of all of that, I have a 9-month-old. Whenever I wanted to record after the earthquake or waiting for the storm, I would have to take care of the baby. So this is 2 days late. I apologize for that. And what is this? It's my unboxing and first impressions of Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. A little background on Savage Worlds. I first heard about it in the early 2000s. I guess 2005, 2006, on the Ian Worlds message boards. I used to lurk there a lot, and I kept hearing this an easy to prep for game, really easy to pick up. I knew little about it. Starting to read about it, I realized it comes up from the same people that did Deadlands, which was a game I owned and liked but never played. So it was a no-brainer. And on a trip to New York, I got the original Savage Worlds book. Well, the first one I got. I think it was the first edition, and it was at New York at the Complete Strategist. I was there for work and made the trip over to the wonderful store and got it, and I could not make heads or tails of it. For some reason, my mindset was set somewhere else, and I could really not pick up the game. Later on, that was 2006 or 2007, I'm not sure. Then I went to Gen Con in 2007 and got the $10 Explorers Edition. Got 2 copies, one for me and one for my players, because I really wanted to play the game. And I read it. I ran a one shot with it, still getting the feel for the system and the beanies, whatever it's. I've always mispronounced it. And beanies. And I still quite didn't get the game. And then I got the previous edition to this one, the Explorers Edition, is it? Now I'm mixing the names. And that I played for a long while. I ran a campaign that lasted almost 2 years. I used it at fandom conventions. I ran their quick start rules, and it was very successful. I'm a big fan of Savage Worlds. So getting this Adventure Edition was a no-brainer. That being said, about 2 years ago, I published on Stargazer's World my house rules for Savage Worlds, because there are some tweaks I wanted to make to the system. I picked and chose from what other people had published, and one of the complaints I had was, first of all, I thought Savage Worlds played much better than it read, and I actually learned to play by playing it at Gen Con with a good friend and some friends from Puerto Rico. And it does. It played better than it read. When you read the book, it was some bits were hard to pick up. Some rules were at different parts of the book that really didn't make sense for them not to be in just one place. And some concepts like the initiative with the deck of cards or the way wounds were handled was hard to pick up for a newbie. But I wouldn't say hard to pick up for a newbie. Let me rephrase that. Hard to pick up for somebody that comes from other systems, like from a D20 system, or more hit systems that rely on hit points, or more fiddly systems and more use of damage. This was really elegant, but it took me a while to really pick it up. But I picked it up and I enjoyed it. But I still thought the book could use a re-editing and a reorganization. We got this. The Kickstarter for this was very successful, and I must say I'm really impressed with the book. from production quality. I know they're not going back to doing the $10 cheap. It's cheap, come on. It's not cheap as in bad quality, but very accessible books. But I think that's a good step. This is a solid book, well put together, beautiful art inside. Look at that front piece. And from a cursory look, because I've only given this a cursory look, it is very much better organized with lots of little details to help you pick up on it. For example, damage and the shaken condition and how damage works. I like how it's presented here. The way it's broken up in terms of what happens when you suffer 1 success, 2 races. Very well done. I had done a similar table to this for my games to explain it to people. There was a similar sidebar on the last edition, but this is better explained. I think equipment is better organized. Monsters are cleared up. I love the changes in terms of how they handle skills and abilities. I think it's a big improvement. Another thing I really like, the book comes annotated as if a game master had taken notes on it to clarify and add details to the game. It's written as a game master, and then it has notes for 2 players. They're Emily, who plays Red, and Nate, who always plays Gabe. They have a picture on the back of the shadowy game master, and then they have these 2 young kids, and Emily has a scarf on her head. It's a wonderful, wonderful little detail that really adds to the game. I'm really happy I backed this on Kickstarter, and I'm happy I keep supporting Pinnacle. They put together a great game. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, it's adaptable to a lot of game play styles, and you can play it all from this book. The companions and the supplements add to it. This is all you need for endless fun. Well, this dice and a deck of cards. But you know me. My name is Roberto, and I'm a Kickstarter addict. So I did not just back for this. I also got the box, the Savage Worlds Essentials box set. If you saw my picture I posted on social media, it's larger than this because we bundled together and ordered for Jose Bellavista, a good friend of mine. He got the Essential box and the book. Luis Lau, my friend, got the book, and I also got something else that I'll show to you in a minute. This is the Essentials box, and it's still wrapped. I said I was going to do a video opening this, and I kept my word, so I held up on this for you, dear viewers. Let's rip into it and show you what comes in the box. If you've gotten or seen any other of the other boxes Pinnacle has done recently, like the Flash Gordon, Lankmar, any of that, it's similar. This box feels smaller in terms of the sheer size. I think it comes packed with more things. The cover is wonderful. It has the breakdown of all the content back here. It includes the World Builder's Guide, which is sort of GM advice for creating your worlds, a landscape game master screen, 48-page mini settings book, oversized action deck, adventure deck, power cards, status cards, dice set with 4 custom wild dice, 25 custom bennies, acrylic cone and blast templates, combat quick reference chart, chase quick reference charts, die cut status tokens, 5 power and ammo, tracker dials, and Red in the Rain poster and bookmarks. That's a whole lot of things to keep in this. Let's tear into it. I've always been impressed by previous boxes, how well organized they are when you open them. Oh, even the inside is cool. It has all the settings, all the Savage settings that Pinnacle puts out on the inside of the box. The poster, cool, but not I don't hang them up. So this looks beautiful. I'm gonna pick up the camera and show you how it's put together. Wow, very well organized. I'm sorry. And the presentation on this is just amazing. Let me turn it around. Here are the ammo or power trackers. These are little cardboard discs. I'm sorry for all the crinkling in the video. The disc, you turn the dial and you can track from 1 to 20. So it's a great tool. Not vital, but a good tool. Okay, here we go. Here's a little disc. You have them, and then you turn them, and you can keep track of ammo, power points. Not so much wounds, because really it's just 3 wounds in Savage Worlds. So this is a handy little tool, not essential, like I said, but useful. You get 5. That sounds usable for magic, for arcane heroes, or people with lots of guns. Okay, here are the die. 1 regular set of dice with the special wild die. If you've ever played Savage Worlds, and if you haven't, let me tell you, your skills and abilities are all ranked by dice. So you either have a D4, D6, D8, D12, and there's even a D20. There are not many abilities that go up to 20, but here you go. Plus, you always, as a wild card, as a hero, and certain villains, you roll an additional D6, and you keep whichever results best. You don't add them up together. And these are the wild die with the little icons for Savage Worlds. This one has a skull in place of the 6 and a blaster. I'm covering it up. Let's see what else. An airship. See if the camera focuses on that. And a shield and sword. These are great. You can't have enough dice. That's my idea. And having a distinctive wild die is useful because it just sets it apart from another regular D6 that you could use rolling for your traits. Okay, let's keep on doing this without really destroying this beautiful box. These are the bennies, which are really useful in Savage Worlds. They let you recover from damage. They let you do special abilities, activate some powers. I have plenty of those from the last edition plus settings I bought. So I got a lot of these, but I really like this black ones, which are distinctive from the other ones and really useful. Let's get everything out of here. This is the action deck. An oversized action deck. This is just a regular set of cards with the what I'd call iconics from Savage Worlds, the characters they've used in their books. Let me tear it open so you can get to see it. And this is all done for you guys. I have not opened any of this just to record this. But they come in this beautiful box, and then you have your oversized deck of cards. And each suit has a theme, like the club's is horror. The diamonds are Flash Gordon, Ming the Merciless, and Flash and all. No, sci-fi, it's not necessarily Flash. Hearts has a pulp feel. There's even a shadow character, a character similar to the Shadow, and a fantasy on Spades. I love them. I have another set of oversized cards. My one complaint is they're a little hard to... the word in English is eluding me. It comes shuffling. The word is shuffling. Shuffling the cards. We had a player who was really good at shuffling, so he took care of this a lot of the time. Oh, the Jokers. I love the Jokers. But I found a regular deck of cards easier to handle. This is very thematic, but I usually went for a regular sized deck of cards. And one great thing, there's lots of themed deck of cards you can get out there. So for different, I have deck of cards for different settings for Savage Worlds. So yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole. And we got 3 other sets of cards. And let me get one of them out. This is an adventure deck. The adventure deck is a deck of cards that adds additional abilities or situations to the game. And I'll say it spices up the game. It's optional. Not all Savage World games need to use them. The box text, describes them as 54 high-quality cards for use with the award-winning Savage Worlds to give your heroes a little bit more control of their fate. Adventure cards let you find romances, make enemies, eliminate or increase damage, spot clues, and even betray your friends. Don't give them any ideas. And these cards come with an instruction card right here. Tells you shuffle the adventure card at the start of each game, deal one card to each player for each of her character's ranks. Sort of like levels in the game. Players may trade card or play them, and these are great. Play instead of rolling to automatically succeed at a trade. Dress to kill. Your hero is dressed up on for the night. These are all flavor and give characters different control over the session. It's more narrative control and more adventure control, and they're great. I've used things like this before. My one complaint, and this is nothing on Pinnacle. This is just regular on the idea. If you use them all the time, sometimes in a long campaign, they lose their newness, and people start getting repeats and having the same experience. So use them with the right game for pulpy feeling adventures. You don't need to use them all the time. These are the power cards. Savage Worlds has edges. It's abilities your characters have, sort of like feats if you're used to D&D. And through those you can get access to powers, techno magic, superpowers. You can get regular magic. And all of them are divided into powers. These powers are generic, so they could represent a different thing for a gadgeteer or a superhero or a magician. So these are generic powers that you flavor according to the type of power you have. And these are great. These are great reference cards. Cover a wide range of abilities. It's mostly text and the abilities they have. They do say what level your character needs to be to use them, novice, seasoned, etc. I think this is a great tool. I think this would be really useful to help players who use arcane-powered characters. I hope they make similar cards for their other settings when they come up with new powers. That's my recommendation, Pinnacle. Listen to me. I want to spend more money on your books. And then the status cards. This has to do with conditions through combat and other situational modifiers. I feel this is a smaller set. No, 12 shaken, 11 wounded, 11 fatigued. This is pretty good. When you suffer damage, you suffer different conditions. Like if you suffer a wound, there is an effect on your character. I'm not holding it properly. And I love the back on these status cards. Wounded, shaken, not stirred. That's a lame joke. Every Savage Worlds game master has heard. Fatigued, distracted, vulnerable, entangled, bound, stunned, hold and aim, defend. Smaller range of statuses than, say, 5th edition or Pathfinder, but really covers a lot of ground, and these are really great. Taking this out of the table and just handing them out to your players lets them learn the rules much more effectively. So I'm taking out this divider, which is great for the stuff in the box. Kudos, Pinnacle on that. Let's get to more goodies. Licto used to make these templates for Savage Worlds, which I always wanted to get and did not. I had the paper ones. Savage Worlds was built as a miniatures game originally, and then it evolved into a role-playing game, and you can still see the influence. And this new edition has a lot of tools. You can just play the game with no miniatures if you want. But the game does support tactical combat. It's really easy to pick up. Light on rules. Sorry, the lights are just hot today. And if you're using a map, these templates cover a spell or a flamethrower. There's a circular one that goes from small to medium to large. These are great. These are great to use with miniatures or tactical combat. When I ran Savage Worlds, I did not use miniatures all the time. I did a lot of theater of the mind combat, and then when we got to really important set pieces, then I would roll out the maps. And here we start with the reference cards. These are combat options, front and back, chases and vehicles, maneuvers. Pinnacle has provided these as PDFs, and I would definitely use them as reference cards in my game, but I would print them out for my characters. Besides the cards, the status cards, you also have tokens you can hand out to characters as they are, as to the players as their characters suffer these conditions. I like how this is packed because it's in a sealed box, it's a sealed package. They don't start flying off when you take them out. Really nice packaging, Pinnacle. Kudos on that. We have markers with rules on the back. This is really good use of the combat, the injury table, common ranged attacks, a race calculator. This is just wonderful. And the World Builder and Game Master's Guide. This has advice on running a game, a long game, building your tribe, creating your group. Very useful. I have this in PDF and I had looked at it. So if you get the book, this is not necessary, but really helps. Here we go. And here's the Game Master screen. I don't usually use a Game Master screen in my games. I run my games with a computer, and I don't need another division between me and players. But I do keep it handy to just reference when I need to look at the rules somewhere without having to flip to the book. So this is useful still. They do create screen inserts you can print out and use with the reusable Game Master screens, but this is a great 3-panel reference screen. Great art on one side, the most common information you'd need. This seems pretty good. Combat and options and situational rules. Seems like a lot, but it just covers most of what you need from the game. Damage, injury table, creative combat, which is combat that's not tactical and really just solved with a couple of rolls, reaction rolls. This is a great screen. That's what comes in the box. It's a lot of goodies. Oh, no. These are the mini settings. These are mini settings Pinnacle put together to highlight the sheer awesomeness of the game. Spirit of 1786, which is a supernatural pulp history revolutionary era of the U.S. Abyssal, an underwater adventure. Telsa Rangers, it's American Lost to Robot Wars, it's pulp adventure in, I won't say steampunk, and the Lost City of Astla, which is a fantasy mini setting. This is great. I would wholeheartedly recommend getting this Essentials box because it just brings everything you need to get your Savage Worlds game running. You can certainly do it with just the book, but this is just icing on the cake. I can't recommend this box enough. I'm thrilled. I love how they put it together. I can now put this back in here. Let me see if I can do it properly. Yep, I can put this back in here. Put all these back in. Oh wow, this is great. I'll eventually get all of these out of here and not use this box as we're playing, but just putting it back together on this box. It's okay. I need to reshuffle the die. Putting it back together in here means this box is useful. It's not just a shipping container. It's something you use to keep your game in place. Let's close it back up. There you go. Savage Worlds and the rule book. And I got one more thing. I did say I'm a Kickstarter addict. And this is the piece de resistance. Pardon my French. Not good. It's extra packaged for extra care. Again, Sorry for the ripping noise. I got the regular book to use at my table. And then I got the collector's version of the book. This is faux leather, embossed. It has some rivets, corners. It's got a ribbon. And then, best of all, it's signed by Shane Hensley, the creator, Clint Black, and Jody Black. Jody is I'll just say she's a special lady. I've known her via social media. Hope to meet her in person one day. She's been great in supporting fans of Savage Worlds, supporting me as a fan. And when Hurricane Maria hit 2 years ago, the first care package I got was from Jody and Clint and their family. It meant the world. It had basic necessities after a hurricane. I'm still eternally grateful, and it had a Savage Worlds book, a setting book on it to keep me company through the nights without power. I can't thank them enough. I can't say how much I like this Savage Worlds Adventure Edition book, the collectors, the essential blocks. This is a great game from a great company, and again, I know I'm going to enjoy. I hardly recommend it. I think it's great. Check it out. Thank you for waiting for this video. I'm a satisfied customer. Just waiting for the next Savage Rifts box coming out and everything else Pinnacle's putting out. Thank you very much. Hope you have fun and keep it savage.